Have you ever wondered about the life of Cleopatra, the legendary queen of Egypt? The tale begins in 69 BC with the birth of Cleopatra VII. Born to the Ptolemaic dynasty, a family of Greek origin, Cleopatra was not just an Egyptian queen, but also a part of the legacy left behind by the mighty conqueror Alexander the Great. In the heartland of Egypt, where the Nile generously nurtures the land, Cleopatra was born and bred. The Ptolemaic dynasty was well known for keeping their bloodline pure, often resorting to intermarriages within the family. Following this tradition, at the tender age of 18, Cleopatra ascended to the throne alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. As the co-rulers of Egypt, they were expected to harmoniously govern their land. But life had a different plan for Cleopatra. Her reign was anything but harmonious. Her ambitious spirit and keen desire for independent rule were not met with open arms. Instead, they clashed with the interests of Ptolemy XIII's advisors. This led to a significant turn of events, resulting in Cleopatra's exile to Syria. However, Cleopatra was not just a queen of beauty, but also a woman of resilience. Her spirit refused to be quelled by her circumstances. Instead of accepting defeat, she gathered an army from her allies, setting her sights on a goal larger than most could fathom, reclaiming her throne. In the shadow of this power struggle, the Roman Empire lurked, its influence growing stronger over Egypt. It was during this tumultuous period that Julius Caesar, Rome's great general and leader, arrived in Egypt. Cleopatra, ever the opportunist, saw a chance to tip the scales in her favor. However, Cleopatra's reign was anything but peaceful. The struggle for power, the alliances, the betrayals, all were as much a part of her reign as her famed beauty. But as we peel back the layers of her story, we find a woman of formidable intelligence and resilience, a queen who would stop at nothing to secure her throne and her people. Early in her rule, Cleopatra faced immense challenges. The young queen found herself grappling with a failing economy that threatened the prosperity of her kingdom. Discontent brewed within the palace walls and beyond, as internal strife began to tear at the fabric of Egypt's unity. Cleopatra's reign was not one of solitary power. She shared the throne with her younger brother, Ptolemy III, as per the custom of Egyptian royalty. Yet this co-regency was far from harmonious. Despite her youthful age, Cleopatra was ambitious and driven by a keen desire to rule independently. However, her willful nature clashed with the conservative views of Ptolemy's advisors. This discord proved to be the catalyst for a critical turning point in Cleopatra's reign. The conflict with Ptolemy's advisors escalated, culminating in her exile to Syria. Stripped of her power and torn from her homeland, Cleopatra found herself at a crossroads. Yet, in the face of adversity, Cleopatra's resolve did not falter. Exile did not diminish her thirst for power, but instead, it ignited a fiercer determination within her. From her base in Syria, she began to assemble an army, rallying allies to her cause. Cleopatra was not one to be easily deterred. She set her sights on reclaiming her throne. Her exile, however, had occurred against a backdrop of wider geopolitical shifts. The Roman Empire, a formidable force in the Mediterranean, was expanding its influence. Its shadow began to loom large over Egypt, marking the beginning of a significant shift in the region's power dynamics. As Cleopatra marshaled her forces in Syria, preparing to reclaim her throne, she was acutely aware of the Roman Empire's growing presence. Rome's influence was not to be underestimated, and Cleopatra knew that her battle for the throne would not solely be fought on Egyptian soil. At this point, the Roman Empire's influence began to impact Egypt significantly. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in Cleopatra's story, one that would intertwine her fate with that of Rome, forever altering the course of history. The arrival of Julius Caesar in Egypt marked a turning point in Cleopatra's life. Cleopatra, ever the strategist, saw an opportunity to gain a powerful ally and seized it. In a move that would become legendary, she had herself smuggled into Caesar's presence, wrapped in a carpet. Her beauty, intelligence, and charm worked their magic, and Caesar, finding himself captivated, chose to ally with the Egyptian queen. This alliance was not merely a political move, it was also a personal one. The two leaders shared more than a mutual respect for each other's political acumen. They shared a bed and eventually a child. Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Ptolemy Caesar, affectionately known as Caesarion. She claimed him to be Caesar's legitimate heir, a point of contention that would later send ripples through the Roman Empire. But for now, Cleopatra's alliance with Caesar brought about a significant shift in power dynamics in Egypt. Cleopatra was reinstated as queen, and her position was stronger than ever before. The failing economy began to recover, internal strife simmered down, and for a brief period Egypt experienced stability and prosperity. The queen's alliance with the Roman leader had turned the tide in her favor. However, this period of peace was not destined to last. Just as Cleopatra's life seemed to finally be on an upward trajectory, tragedy struck. In 44 BC, Caesar was assassinated. His death sent shockwaves through Rome and Egypt alike. Cleopatra found herself a widow, a single mother, and once again at the mercy of the turbulent politics of Rome. Her alliance with Caesar had been a turning point, a period of calm in the storm. But with his death, the storm returned with a vengeance. The queen who had risen to power, who had known love and loss, was once again on her own. However, Caesar's assassination in 44 BC once again plunged Cleopatra's life into uncertainty. In the wake of Caesar's death, Cleopatra formed a new alliance with Mark Antony. This wasn't just a political union, it was a passionate love affair that saw the birth of 3 children and a significant shift in the balance of power. Mark Antony was one of Rome's most influential leaders, a man vying for control of the empire against Caesar's legal heir, Octavian. Cleopatra's alliance with Antony was a strategic move, but it was also a love story that has captured the imagination of historians and artists for centuries. Antony was so enamored with Cleopatra that he famously declared her son Caesarion as Caesar's true successor, thus challenging Octavian's claim to the throne. Their combined forces were formidable, a force to be reckoned with, a testament to their shared ambition and the power of their alliance. But this alliance was not without its trials. They were up against the might of Rome, and the political landscape was fraught with danger and intrigue. The pivotal moment came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, a naval engagement that saw Octavian's forces triumph. Antony and Cleopatra's combined forces were defeated, leading to a significant shift in the power dynamics. After their loss, Antony and Cleopatra retreated to Egypt, their dreams of empire shattered. As Octavian's forces closed in, Antony was dealt a crushing blow. A false report of Cleopatra's death drove him to despair, and in a tragic twist of fate, he took his own life. With Octavian's forces closing in, Antony took his own life, believing Cleopatra to be dead. This marked a tragic end to their love story, an end that would reverberate through the annals of history, forever intertwining their fates. Faced with the loss of her lover and her reign, Cleopatra chose death over defeat. Grief-stricken and cornered, she allegedly turned to a symbol of divine royalty, an asp, to end her life. This is the last act of a queen who refused to be paraded as a defeated trophy in Rome's triumph. The exact circumstances of her death remain shrouded in mystery and legend, but what is certain is that it marked the end of an era. With her demise in 30 BC, the Ptolemaic dynasty, the last Hellenistic kingdom of the ancient world, came to a close. In the aftermath, Egypt was absorbed into the Roman Empire, becoming a province. This transition ushered in a new chapter for the Mediterranean, marking the end of the Hellenistic era, characterized by Greek influence and culture, and the beginning of Roman dominion. But Cleopatra's story doesn't end with her death. Her life, her alliances, her victories, and even her defeat have echoed down the corridors of time, creating a legacy that is as complex as it is enduring. Her intelligence, political acumen, and indomitable spirit made her one of history's most intriguing figures. She played the game of power in a world dominated by men, aligning herself with some of the most powerful figures of her time. She brought stability and prosperity to her kingdom, even in the face of Rome's expanding power. And when the tide turned against her, she chose her own fate, maintaining her dignity to the last. Cleopatra's legacy transcends her life and death. She has become a symbol of the power and perseverance of women in leadership. Her story has been told and retold, reshaped and reimagined in countless works of art and literature. She has been immortalized in stone and on canvas, in verse and on screen, her name synonymous with beauty, power, and tragedy. Cleopatra's legacy is one of power, perseverance, and tragedy, making her one of history's most fascinating figures. Her tale is a testament to her courage and determination, a queen who became a legend.